I honestly cannot do this on the smartboard at all because we're using these 3-in-1s. But what I want you guys to do is I will write some of the answers on the board. What I want you to do right now is I want you to measure angle A. Okay? Notice that A and B are a linear pair, but I want you to measure angle A. So what you're going to do is you're going to lay the 3-in-1 on the page like so. Okay? I can figure out how to pinball this. Okay? And basically the circle, this thing's still flopping around. It's okay to flop around. And basically you have to have the black line and the red line basically pointing on the whole line at the bottom there. Does that make sense at all? Okay, good. And then this part here, that's swinging, you want to make it so that the red line's pointing at 180 and the black line's pointing at 1, or at 0, I mean, sorry, 0. Okay? And then here's the deal. You have to realize, is A an acute or an obtuse angle? It's definitely obtuse, okay? So because of that, we're going to use the black numbers that are on the outside. We're going to use the black numbers. So we're going to say, if you were to look at that, we'd be approximately 135 degrees. Okay? So let me go through this one more time. I really wish I could do this on the smartboard, but here's the deal. This thing's, if you want, you can watch me up here. Here's the deal. You put the brass part here, this brass part, bless you. You put the brass part on the intersection point, the vertex, okay? And you make sure the red part is facing towards B, like on the line, directly on the line. The black part's facing, I don't know, the opposite direction, obviously. So basically it's straight with the horizon, I guess. Okay? And then you adjust this part here, the swinging thing, so the black part faces towards 180. The black part goes to a 0, the red part goes to 180. And then since this is an obtuse angle, we use the black part of it to figure out the measurements, and we should be really, really close to 135 degrees. Okay? If the person next to you does not have 135 degrees, please help them out. Okay, so here's the deal. We're measuring this angle out here. So we're going to turn this thing so it's just like this.
I got it.
Okay, and then we turn this thing so that that's going to 180, and this is going to 0 like this. Now we're looking at this angle. It should go up right to 135 degrees. You see that?
Look at the ball.
Wait, who else does not know how to do this? You don't know how to do it? Okay. You look like it's really close. So if it's off, we put it on there. We move this guy around until this is on this line over here, and this point's exactly on this line over here. Okay. Then we adjust this guy, move it around till this is 180 over here. This is 0 over here. Okay. And then we look at where does this line go, and it should go exactly through 135 to 100. Sorry, if that's on the vertex.
So this is
Uh-huh. It's because it's black. We're using the black part because it's okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to label this guy right here as 135 degrees. Make sure to use the degree symbol when you do that, 135 degrees. And what I want you to do is I want you to go around and I want you to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, just all the way to N. Okay? And I don't think there's an L. Okay? I want you to go all the way through A through N. And we're going to look at some of the relationships between these angles in just a second. So then you use the red, yeah. So that's at 0. And so it goes through, it would be, I'm sorry. Let me read what this actually says here. Yeah, because it's actually going the other way. Sorry. I guess I said it the wrong way. I think I said it the wrong way. Yeah, I think using common sense is a bad deal, but I think I said it the wrong way. I guess it's the cube that starts over here. So, although what? There is no crap to put on there. All this is just those angles. Yes, sir. Say it again. Still confused about it. Okay, so here's where we start. we put this brass part on the vertex, just like so. We then turn this guy around until he's facing exactly this direction. So red is right on that line, black is exactly on that line. Okay? Then we turn this part around until the black is pointing at 0 and the red is pointing at 180. Okay? And then our angle starts here and it goes up through here. And if we're looking at it, if I had this actually right there, then it should be right at 135 degrees. Right at 140. Angle A is definitely an obtuse angle because it's bigger than 90 degrees. Oh, are you measuring B? Oh, sorry. So you're measuring B. So now, because B is over here, it's going to be, instead of being 135, it's going to be the other part of that. So is that 45? You measure the right next to that is 45. So I'm going to try to leave my hand here. Not necessarily. It depends on what side you're starting from. Okay, I'm going to try measuring mine. Why don't you guys try this? Because I want to make sure I get some of these measurements on here as I go along. His little brother? Older brother, I mean, yeah. That's why I thought it was. That's cool. So it should be 60 degrees. How much more time do you guys need? All of class time? Okay. No. I'm going to put a couple up here so you guys can kind of see what's going on. I think from these you can actually derive the rest of them. It's kind of weird, but I'll let you guys keep measuring. All of them, I rounded each of them. I think they're actually perfect, but I think I rounded them all in the nearest 5 degrees. So as you guys go through this, it should be pretty close to 5 degrees. And we're going to talk about how we can really make this easy as we go along here. And hopefully it'll be a piece of cake here and not too long a time at all. Okay? How about I give you guys 60 more seconds? I'm just going to give you 60 more seconds. And if you don't have all of them measured, that's okay. But I do want you guys to get as far as you can. How many people are finished right now, by the way? Some of you guys are really good at measuring angles. I appreciate that. I do want to make sure there's some time that in case we need to use these for our homework that we can do that. Okay?
Everybody, would be
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We're gonna get back on track here. I know we've been talking a little bit, a couple things. Andrew, Sam, hold on. Okay. In a minute. Yeah. How about an hour? Okay. Here we go. When we do this, there should be certain relationships that we recognize. Okay. For instance, if you look at A and B are on a straight line, aren't they? They're on a straight line. They're called a linear pair. Okay. Linear pair. What do they always add up to? 180 degrees. So if I know that A is 135, what does B have to be? It has to be 45 degrees because they're on a line together. So that has to be 45 degrees. Okay? I came over here, I measured C, and I got 35 degrees. So what does D have to be since these guys are on a line and they're a linear pair? It has to be 145. Okay? All right, now check this out. Let's check it. Check this out. There's a triangle right here. See this triangle? What do the interior angles of a triangle add up to? 180 degrees, okay? So I have B, which is 45. I have C, which is 35. What does that add up to? That's 80, correct? Okay, so that's 80. So what does angle G have to be? It has to be 100. It has to be 100 because these two other angles, these three angles added together, the ones with the three dots next to them, have to be 180 degrees. So the interior angles of the triangle are always 180 degrees. So I'm just looking at this geometrically. Okay? Now check this out. How are G and E related? What are they called? I've already said it twice. They're called a linear pair, right? G and E, they're called a linear pair. Everyone say linear pair. Okay? G and E are a linear pair. So if G is 100, what does E have to be? It has to be 80 degrees. Okay? Watch this. How are G and H related? They're a linear pair, so if G is 100, what does H have to be? It also has to be 80. Okay, here's my question. How are E and H related? Yeah, they're right across from each other, so what is that called? Okay, E and H are vertical angles. E and H are vertical angles, so they have to be the same, which is true. They're both 80 degrees. Okay, how are F and G related? They're vertical angles, so that's have to be the same as well. So I can label this as 100 degrees as well. Okay? Okay. That's all we can do kind of on this side of the triangle. I measured angle N was 75 degrees. Okay? Now look, there's one giant triangle here, like so. You guys see that? Maybe I can make it kind of green here. So there's this triangle here. It's a really big triangle. Okay? So I have angle B, I have angle N, and I can figure out angle I because all three of those angles have to add up to 180. So if I have 45 degrees here, if I have, what is this, N is 75, what do those two add up to? Is that 120? 120. So that means that angle I has to be 60 degrees. So that's a 60 degrees right here. Okay? So then how are I and J related? They're vertical angles. So what is the measure of angle J? 60. Okay? How are I and K related? They're linear pairs. So what's the measure of angle K? 120 degrees. How are I and M related? I and M are a linear pair. So what's the measure of angle M? 120 as well. Okay, so really the idea here is all I measured, I really only measured A, I really measured C, and I measured N, and from those three angles, I was to get all the other angle measurements by using a few postulates, a few rules, knowing linear pair, knowing vertical angles, and knowing the triangle sum pair, those three things. Okay, I don't have the picture, oh I can have a picture. Using the measure, well, using the angle measures above, put the following statements, what do you find? Measure of angle E and G, what do those two add up to? Yeah, because that's 80 degrees, plus that was 100 degrees, so we'd have to say 180 degrees right here. measure of angle I and the measure of angle K. Well, I was 60 degrees, wasn't it? Measure of angle K should have been 120 degrees. That's 180 degrees. Okay? So what do you find? What you find is that when you have a linear pair, they sum to 180 degrees. Okay? Linear pair basically the sum of two angles on a linear pair, 180 degrees. Okay? So that's what we can learn from E and G as well as I and K. Does that make sense? I was trying to emphasize that a little bit as I was showing you the angles. So hopefully we'll get that. Okay? Compare the measures of the following angles. What's the measure of angle E? This was 80 again. What's the measure of angle H? It's 80 degrees. Okay? Let's go over here. What's the measure of angle M? It's 120. What's the measure of angle K? 120 degrees. So what do you find? Hey, vertical angles are congruent. Okay, vertical angles have the exact same measurement. Vertical angles are congruent. Does that make sense? Okay, turn over the back. All right. I don't know how many angles we have to measure for this. I have no idea how many angles we need to measure for this. But try to do this so you measure as few angles as possible. Well, O looks like a 0, or it looks like a... They don't use L either. Because it looks like either a 1 or whatever else, yeah. I was the one who made this. Yeah. Name the pairs of angles that match the characteristics of those in example 1. Well, we'll talk about that again. Why don't you guys measure B? B is going to be the same as F, so we'll be fine there. Measure angle B. Why don't you measure angle A? I don't know what else to measure. Why don't you try measuring these? I'm going to try measuring them myself. Why don't we try to do this and we'll meet back in just a little while. Okay? So measure your angles, we'll see what happens. Andrew Palmer. Thanks. Oh, that's weird. So you guys are measuring angles right now. It's kind of nice that all these angles are really nice, like divisible by 5, all of them. Very nice. That was very nice to you guys. And then, because I kind of like you guys. Kind of nice. Yeah. Well, if I said I really liked you guys, you probably, want to ask me to get a phone call or something. Very awkward. I'm all the way through H right now. I'm not sure where you're at, but I'm all the way through H. Oh boy. That's not good. I don't think angle M is a nice angle. I just kind of jumped a little bit. No, I'm not cheating. 28. I'll do ion. I did not get 90. Yep, definitely did not get out 90. Nope. Is S supposed to be R? No, it's definitely S. There's no R up there. Oh boy, maybe S is supposed to be R. Yes, they're not exactly right on. I agree. Nope, you do them exactly what they're supposed to be. So guys, why don't you change this one right here? Let's change this from R, change that just to be an S. Hope you guys are nearly done. You did the same thing for some of these angles. Alright guys, let's try this out now. Hopefully you guys are getting pretty close to this. I'm just going to write some things down. I want you to check your answers. As we go down, I got 40 degrees, I got 40 degrees. I got 70 degrees and 30 degrees. Those were all really nice angles. From there you can kind of figure out the rest of them. These are, because they're vertical angles, we'd have 40, 40, 70, and 30. Okay? And then they started kind of getting weird. Okay? For instance, for I, when I measured I got 88 degrees. I did not get 90. You cannot just round them. You need to give whatever the actual angle measurement is. That would make J 62 degrees. Okay? One thing you can check, I, J, and H. I, J, and H. They do need to, those three of them do need to add up to 180 degrees. So you can check that. If you find two of them, you can definitely find the third one. I think that's fine. For K, I'm going to switch colors so these are all together. For K, I got 52 degrees, and that means I got 88 for M. Okay, the reason behind that is MK and then B all need to add up to 180 degrees. I'm just going to fill out the rest of it because it's basically the same concept. I had 92 degrees, I had 58 degrees, I had 52 degrees, and I have 88 degrees for angle S or R, whichever one the label of that. Okay? Any questions on those? Just realize that they do have to be at the right amount as we go along. Are we good? Okay, we're almost done with this. Two angles form a linear pair, then what? Got the sum of the two angles is 180 degrees. Okay, if we want to draw an example of them, you can use your 3 and 1 if you want. There's a straight line like this, that's why it's called a linear pair. It's because it's a line. The reason it's called a pair, duh, it's because there's two angles. So here's 1, here's 2, linear pair just like that. Got it? Got it. Let's move on. Vertical angles posture. The two angles are vertical, then they are congruent. The two angles are congruent. Two angles are congruent. Okay, so angles 3 and 4. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line like this, a line like this. I'm going to label this angle 3 up here, angle 4 down here at the bottom. Okay, I feel like we've already done some of this stuff before this year. It should be really easy. The only thing we're really adding in is being able to measure it. Okay, I'm going to pass out your guys' assignment. The directions are pretty clear. It says give it the relationship of each pair of angles. So you're going to say whether it's a linear pair or they're vertical angles. That's like the first 6. That should take about 12 seconds, I would imagine. Numbers 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Basically, you need to find the things that are missing, the missing angles. But if you're given one, you should be able to find the rest. Sierra, can you go around and collect all the 3 and 1s? Rashad, why don't you try finding your assignment? Yep, all the 3 and 1s. No, just the 3 and 1s. Sierra's gonna collect 3 and 1s. Sierra, make sure you get one from everybody. 3 and 1. 3 and 1. It says it on there. Protractor, ruler, and compass. Also says straight edge somewhere. 3 in 1.